Let me describe your Tuesday. A file lands in your inbox. You open it and it's the same mess it was last month. The dates are text, there's a blank row every 12 rows because somebody added subtotals. The region column has north, and NORTH. And there are 12 columns, one for each month, which is lovely for a human and useless for a pivot table. So you do what you did last month. You delete the subtotal rows by hand, you write a trim and a proper and drag them down, you copy, paste special as values, maybe 40 minutes, maybe an hour. And next month, the file lands again, and you do all of it again. That's the thing I want to fix today. Because there's a tool sitting inside the Excel you already have that most people have genuinely never opened. And it turns that hour into one click. It's called Power Query. And here's the part that matters. In Power Query, you do not clean the data. You record the steps for cleaning it. Then next month, you press refresh and every step replays automatically in order on the new file. Same result, 0 minutes. And it's not a Power BI thing you need to install. If you have Excel 2016 or later, it's already there on the Data tab. And it's the single most underused feature in the product. And one promise before we start. Nothing today needs a single formula. Not one. If you've been getting by on nested ifs and VLOOKUP gymnastics, you can put all of that down for the next 20 minutes. So let me make the core idea completely concrete, because everything else today is a detail. In Excel, when you clean data, you do the work. Your effort produces a clean sheet and that's the output. If new data arrives, your old effort is worth nothing. You start again. In Power Query, your clicking produces a recipe. The clean table is just a side effect of running it. And the recipe is the thing you keep. Every single action you take gets written into a list on the right-hand side called applied steps. Change a column type, that's a step. Remove 3 columns, that's a step. Filter out blanks, that's a step. It's an ordered list, and you can click any earlier step and see exactly what the table looked like at that moment, which by the way is the best undo system in any tool I use. Next month, new file, same shape. You hit refresh. Power Query throws away the old result, reads the new file and replays every step in order. And here's the mindset shift I genuinely like you to take away. Stop thinking, how do I clean this file? Start thinking, what are the steps that would clean any file that looks like this? That second question is the one that saves you an hour a month for the rest of your career. There's a second benefit people don't expect. Because the steps are written down, your cleaning is auditable. When someone asks why the total changed, you point at the exact step. Try that with a spreadsheet where somebody typed over a cell in March. Right, let's find it, because it's hiding in plain sight. In Excel, go to the Data tab and look at the left-hand side for a group called Get and Transform Data. There's a button called Get Data. That's the front door. You'll also see From Text or CSV and From Table or Range, which is what you use when the data is already in your workbook. One important note there. If your data is already in Excel, select it and press Ctrl-T first to make it a real table. Power Query wants defined boundaries, and a proper table gives it that. In Power BI, it's the same engine, same interface, just reached differently. It's the Transform Data button on the home ribbon, and you land in the identical editor. That's worth saying clearly. This is one skill, 2 products. Learn it in Excel, and you already know it in Power BI. Once you're in, the layout is simple. Queries on the left, that's your list of tables. The data preview in the middle, and on the right, query settings with applied steps underneath it. That right-hand panel is the important one. Then across the top, 3 ribbons. Home for the common things, Transform for changing existing columns, and Add column for making new ones. That distinction is genuinely useful. Transform changes what's there. Add column leaves the original alone. One more point. Power Query never edits your source file. It reads it, transforms a copy, and loads that. Your original is untouched, so you can experiment as aggressively as you like. Let's clean something. And there's an order to this that saves you pain. So I'll go in the order I actually work. First, promote your headers. Sometimes your column names are sitting in the first row of data and Power Query hasn't noticed. There's a button, Use First Row as Headers. One click. Second, remove the rows you don't want. There's a Remove Rows menu with Remove Top Rows for when the file has a title block and a logo above the data. Remove blank rows, remove duplicates, and remove errors. All one click each, and all of them replay next month. Third, remove the columns you don't need and be aggressive about this. Right click, remove. Every column you keep costs memory and makes refresh slower. If you're not going to use it, get rid of it now.
Fourth, and this is the one people skip, check your column types. Look at the tiny icon on the left of each column header. ABC means text. 123 means whole number. A calendar means date. If a column that should be a number is showing ABC, nothing downstream will work because you cannot sum text. Click the icon and change it. And a habit worth building from day one. Every time Power Query asks whether you want to replace the current step or add a new one, add a new one. It keeps your list readable, and a readable list is a query you can still fix in 6 months. Watch what happens when I fix these 4 things in order.
Now the text transformations, which is where most of your real mess lives. Split column. You've got a cell that says Mumbai West. That's one column holding 2 facts. Right click, split column, by delimiter, choose the comma, and now you have 2 clean columns. Extremely common with addresses, full names, and product codes. There's also split by number of characters for fixed width codes. Next, replace values. Your region column has North, North, and North. To you, that's one region. To every pivot table on Earth, that's 3. Replace values fixes it, and it's recorded, so it fixes it next month too. Then the format menu, which has uppercase, lowercase, capitalize each word, and trim. Trim removes invisible spaces from the ends of text, and I promise you, at some point an invisible trailing space will cost you an hour of your life, because North and North with a space look identical and behave differently. And then fill down, which is quietly beautiful. You know those reports where a category name appears once on the first row of its group and the rest are blank? A human reads that fine. A machine cannot. Right-click the column, fill, down, and every blank inherits the value above it. There's also extract, which sits next to these, and it's underrated. Extract the first 5 characters or everything before a delimiter, or the text between 2 markers. It's how you pull a year out of an order code without writing a single mid or left formula. Watch it happen. Now the single most valuable transformation in the entire tool, and the one that will change how you think about spreadsheets. It's called Unpivot. Here's the problem it solves. Your data has 12 columns, one for each month. January, February, March, and so on. That's a crosstab, and it's how humans like to read a report. But every pivot table, every chart, and every analysis function wants the opposite shape. It wants one row per observation. So you'd need a month column and a value column, and 12 rows instead of 12 columns. Doing that by hand is genuinely miserable. In Power Query, you select the 12-month columns, right-click, unpivot columns, and it's done. Instantly. 2 columns appear, called attribute and value. You rename them to month and sales, and your data is now in the shape everything else wants. And there's a smarter variation. Select the columns you want to keep, the ones that aren't months. Then choose unpivot other columns. Now if somebody adds a 13th month next year, it gets unpivoted automatically because you defined what to keep rather than what to transform. That one choice makes your query survive the future. And the reverse exists. Pivot column takes long data and makes it wide for presentation. My rule, store and analyze long, present wide. Long suits machines, wide suits humans. And these two let you move between them in one click. Watch this one carefully. It's the payoff of the whole video.
Two more features, and these are the ones that separate people who know this tool from people who've just clicked around in it. Append and merge. Append stacks tables on top of each other. Same columns, more rows. Use it when January, February and March arrived as 3 separate files and you want one table. If you know SQL, it's a union. Merge joins tables side by side. Different columns matched on a key. You've got an orders table with the product code and a separate products table with the code and the product name. Merge brings the name across. If you know SQL, it's a join. And when you merge, Power Query asks you which join type you want. Left outer, inner, right outer, full outer, and a couple of others. If those words mean nothing, here's the short version. Left outer keeps everything from your first table and adds matching information from the second. That's what you want about 90% of the time. And one habit that costs nothing. After a merge, check your row count. If it went up, you've got duplicates in your lookup table and your numbers are now inflated. Power Query shows the row count at the bottom of the window. Look at it before and after. One thing about merge that catches people out. Afterwards, you get a column full of the word table with an expand icon. That's not broken. Click it, pick the fields you want and untick the prefix box. Watch a merge happen.
Now the feature that turns this from a nice tool into something that genuinely gives you time back, the folder connector. Instead of connecting to one file, you connect to a folder. Point Power Query at a folder containing 12 monthly exports with the same structure and it reads all of them and stacks them into one table. It even adds a column telling you which file each row came from, which is enormously useful for tracing problems. And here's the part that matters. Next month, you drop file 13 into that folder. You don't open Power Query, you don't edit anything. You press refresh and it's included. If you are currently copying and pasting monthly files together, that one feature will save you hours every single month. Two related things worth knowing. Parameters, which let you store something like a file path in one place, so when the folder moves, you change it once instead of in 6 queries. And refresh options in query properties, where you can tell Excel to refresh automatically when the workbook opens. Set that and your report is simply correct every morning without you touching it. A caution on the folder connector though. Every file in that folder must have the same structure. If somebody drops in a file with an extra column or different headers, the refresh will either fail or quietly produce nonsense. So keep the folder disciplined and only put the right files in it. Let me show you the whole loop. New file arrives, one click, everything replays. Before we finish, the traps. And I've fallen into every one of these. 1. Doing your cleaning halfway in Power Query and halfway in Excel formulas afterwards. Pick one. If it can be done in the query, do it in the query, or your refresh will produce a table that your formulas no longer line up with. 2. Setting data types at the very end. Do it early, because a lot of later steps behave differently depending on type, and you'll get errors that make no sense. 3. Hard-coded file paths like C:\users\your name. It works on your laptop and breaks for everyone else. Use a parameter or put the file next to the workbook. 4. Not renaming your steps. Right-click a step, rename it to something like remove test orders. 6 months from now, opening this file, you will thank yourself. 5. The changed type step that Power Query adds automatically when you load. It hard-codes your column names, so if the source adds a column, it can break.
Delete it and set your types deliberately. And 6. Filtering late. Filter and remove columns as early as you can, because there's something called query folding, where Power Query pushes your steps back to the database, so the database does the work. Filter early and folding usually survives. And a 7th, about skill. If a refresh starts taking minutes, the usual culprit is a merge against a huge table or a row by row step late in the chain. Move your filters earlier and it often disappears.
So let me pull it together. Power Query is inside the Excel you already have, on the Data tab, and you have probably never opened it. It does not clean your data. It records the steps that clean any file of that shape and replays them on demand. The order I'd work in: promote headers, remove junk rows, remove columns you don't need, set your types early, then split, replace, trim, and fill down. Then unpivot to get out of crosstab shape and into one row per observation. Then append or merge if you need to combine sources. And point it at a folder if the same file arrives every month. Here's what I'd actually do this week, and it's small. Take the one report you rebuild most often. Don't try to automate everything, just that one. Do it once in Power Query instead of by hand. It will take you longer than usual the first time, maybe 90 minutes instead of 60. And then next month, it takes 10 seconds, and every month after that, forever. That's the trade. One slow afternoon for a permanent result. And honestly, once you've done that once, you'll stop writing cleaning formulas altogether. And one last thought. Advanced Excel, which explicitly includes Power Query, shows up in around 2/3 of analyst job postings. Most people who list Excel on a CV have never opened this tab. Being fluent here is a real differentiator. Tell me in the comments what report you're going to convert first. Subscribe if this helped. See you in the next one.